You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are listening to Fanboy Versus. I'm your host, JD, joined by the entire crew once again. Yes, Triplett, McFeely, and Nicole Hale. Welcome.
Hello.
You know,
Hello.
sometimes we like to get your last name in there, because,
Oh, why not?
that doesn't, we don't always do that. So, yes, we are here. It is Fanboy versus the event, because we got both event comics coming out, but we're only talking about one. Why is that, McFeely?
I'm going to leave it to the end of the show to
The
explain
end
why.
of the show? You can't. Okay. He's been leaving
No,
us. He's been leaving us in suspense.
My reason for not talking about it is it just wasn't very good.
Well, there is that too.
Wait, his reason was, but that was my reason.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it wasn't good. It just wasn't that great.
I don't know.
There's
You
a
know.
chronological flow to what I have to talk about in this week's episode. All will become clear at the end.
Very well, sir. Very well. But we will be talking Flashpoint at the end of the show, which was interesting. Yeah. Barry, maybe not so dumb.
Not dumbest man on earth still.
I still think he's insane, but we'll see. That whole...
Third-degree burnedest man on Earth.
I was
Christy.
totally thinking about that when that scene happened in the comic. It's like, oh God, is he doing this?
I would have loved it if they would have anyway, we'll talk about it in the review.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wait till the end.
Wow. So anyway, so that's fun. Not much news. Not a lot of news. A little bit of news. Mostly involving the Mighty, I guess.
Yeah, well, we'll go with the Mighty first. It's an image that's come out in the last day, I believe, because I didn't see it till this morning, which is that there's going to be something called the Mighty as part of Fear itself. Presumably the heroic counter to the Worthy, and they're going the mysterious black dot silhouette poster route again. Except in this particular instance, it's not very useful at all because
It's kind of pointless.
abundantly obvious to at least 8 of these 9 characters are.
Yeah.
Unless there are deliberate swerves, then that's going to turn out to be.
There's no way. They've got some of these have their symbols on their chest. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, maybe
it's not
maybe Spider Woman just put a big S on her chest, and
No.
that's not Marvel.
yeah, and maybe some random dude just put like the dragon thing, and
It turns out that it's
Yeah.
not Iron Man. It's actually War Machine.
yeah, okay, it's actually War Machine, and it's not really Wolverine. It's Colossus something. I don't know. I mean, there's
Wearing claws.
yeah.
Well, anyway, the characters appear to be Miss Marvel, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Wolverine, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, what is presumably Valkyrie, given the large sword, and a female figure who is pretty genuinely unidentifiable, but who intelligent speculation would probably favor to be Black Widow.
Not because she's in a movie.
Because she got a film.
Because she's in a movie. Oh, okay. We're going with that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me how film commercial, in a sense, Marvel is really become, because it's like, it was inescapable to me. And like I said, we're not going to talk about Fear itself, other than the only line I'll say is that as I'm reading it, I'm going, this is unmistakably the movie tie-in. But anyway, so, Nicole, you're frozen, if you wouldn't mind recycling
I'm frozen.
the video.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Oh
Much-
no.
Not unlike Steve Rogers.
Oh, I was gonna make the joke.
Would
In his hit film coming soon.
yeah, this hit film
It's like,
coming.
what
in
she
2
needs
weeks.
is some Alaskans to worship her and Namor to bust her out.
So, anyway, the Mighty. So I'm assuming this is probably going to be some sort of Odin Force tie-in thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Something
building something in Fear itself, right? He's building weapons.
Yeah, he's building an Earth Destroyer at the moment.
Yeah, that's what he's building. Okay. But see, I'm kind of confused on that. I know he's doing something. I just don't know exactly what he's doing.
I mean, that's not. I mean, again, we're not going to talk about the specific episode, but it was talked about in the last issue or so that Odin's general solution is just to wipe out humanity.
Yeah.
They're the Fear Factory.
that's Odin.
It's like, I have a great idea. I'm gonna kill them all.
You
Right.
say that every week.
So, yeah. So there's that. Cool.
The only other real bit of news that I've seen is it's not been announced what it is. They're holding it back for Comic-Con, of course, which is what is that, in like 2 weeks or something now? This 2 weeks this week?
It starts not this Wednesday, but the next.
2 weeks until it matters. Well, it's going to be a new Reborn project from Marvel. Blankety blank. It's actually 5 spaces Reborn in the title, so if it could literally be 5 letters. And it's been done by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness.
Ah.
Huh.
Well.
I could feel your interest just explosively decompress at the other end of the podcast as I named the creative team.
You had me at Jeff Loeb.
Yeah.
And by had me, I mean, oh damn.
Yeah, I'll wait to see who the character is before I decide to care or not.
I will wait for the trade. So,
Yes. That's to be announced on Saturday, July the 23rd.
oh well, I'll be waiting with bated breath for that
Yeah.
for sure.
Nah. So that's something that's happening, but that's about it as far as the news goes. This
Wow.
Comic-Con business
It's like a
has the
vacuum.
news at a quiet, at a slow end.
Yeah, it is a news vacuum out there as we go into. Yes.
We really need that vacuum soundboard. Is Brian like behind scenes right now?
No, it's all me. Although I've thought about getting a soundboard for the
Yeah.
show. That would be
For
fun.
like the week when everything sucks, we just need a
Yeah.
vacuum soundboard.
Something like that.
Sample that.
But yeah, there we go. I'll do my own sound effects, not unlike the guy from Police Academy.
You guys, Police Academy.
God, as we date ourselves again, the kids that listen to this show are, what's Police Academy?
God, if they don't know what Police Academy is, they need to go get educated right now.
Yeah, it's a terrible series of films that started in the 80s.
Oh.
Start with the first one and then just sort of watch that one again about 5 times, and then you'll
Yeah.
pretty much have the rest
That's
of the
pretty much-
films down. I've been abusing myself lately. I've actually been watching Power Rangers, so
I noticed.
finished Zeo
Are
today.
you on superhero time now? Because you're tweeting like crazy about Power
I
Rangers.
should be. I'm telling you.
I was gonna take that off in some horrible direction when you're talking about abusing yourself, but it's like there's nowhere I could possibly take that as a joke that it would actually be worse than the fact you're watching Power Rangers.
No, I know.
You're a grown ass man, JD.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy the abuse.
Wave
and,
this Transformer accessory at you and criticize.
well,
Feel the hypocrisy in waves, but I don't care.
think about how much better the Transformers fiction is when I watch Power Rangers first, and then
Whoa.
you know.
Can't believe that still exists. Can't believe there are grown ass people who like Power Rangers.
Like
I know
is
it's
a very strong.
complete hypocrisy. I'm standing here next to my
Nick
fucking
Feely, we have a podcast, I think, specifically about that.
Yeah,
so you might want to
exactly.
dial it back just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we have superhero time on this
Hey,
network.
I'm not on that show.
That is a. I was supposed to be on that show
Chris
actually.
Nick Feely's comments do not represent.
Yeah, represent. No. I was actually supposed to be on that show like 2 weeks ago, and I ended up having a conflict. But
Yeah, your conscience conflicted with you.
right, no. But anyway, I
Your
digress.
better judgment took hold.
No, come on.
Did you-
Power Rangers is fine. It's a little. I mean, like I said, it's a little wacky right now. I'm having a good time with like tweeting while I'm watching. It definitely like takes the edge off. McFeely, you're getting very close to me. You're kind of scaring me a little bit. I'm gonna need you to back. There you go. Thank you.
I am amazed that like that entire series run, I think, is out there on Netflix because that's how you're watching it.
That
right?
is, yeah. I'm watching it on Netflix. So
amazing.
that's the whole thing. It's like I can sit there, I can lay in bed and watch the entire run of Power Rangers. I'm on Turbo right now.
So wait, you're laying in bed and watching it. That means you're exposing your wife to this too?
Oh God, no! God, no! She's watching the. See, that's the thing where I'm really dumb because she's like in the living room watching the good TV, and I'm like in the bedroom on like the small TV watching it. So, yeah. But no, it's.
Watching it secret behind closed doors, and when she comes in, you're like, "No, God!
Oh
no,
God!
no,
No!
it's porn."
It's porn! It's porn! It's not. Yeah, she's tried to watch it a few times. She's like, what the hell is this? I'm like, Power Rangers. No, but the bad thing is I'm on Turbo right now, and that's the one that has like the kid, like the one Power Ranger that's a kid, and God, I just want to like hit myself in the head every time he's on screen. I've only watched the first episode, and I'm like, God, I hate him already.
Someone has just proposed in the chat that I should watch some of the Japanese versions.
The Sentai stuff, yeah.
No!
No?
No! Why would I do that? That's potentially even worse. Japanese. Have you seen the Japanese acting? Hyper gesticulating, overemphasizing, overacting everything. I have watched Japanese programming, and I will never do so again.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that follow like Kamen, Kamen Rider and stuff. But
Twitter can't get rid of Kamen Rider, and it's just as bad, kids. Kids don't let friends do Kamen Rider.
I did not mean to take this in like a Sentai Kamen hating direction.
No, if you'll excuse me, these Transformers aren't going to play with themselves.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I won't get into the... There was a whole other discussion about adults collecting toys this morning on Twitter. I won't get into that discussion today.
That. Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about that on RFC this week. So a little preview for you out there.
Can't wait.
I feel like there's a distinction. I just feel like there's a distinction. I mean, look at the state of it. Look at the fucking state of it. It's Power Rangers, for God's sake.
I don't think...
In the 90s. You were practically grown up in the 90s. What the hell?
They've been...
I got into Transformers in the 80s, man. I was a child.
Hey,
it was allowed. It's a nostalgic
Power Rangers.
You were old enough to know better in 1993.
I love these rants much better than finding actual legitimate news.
93. Yeah, I was 14, I guess, when
you were old enough to know better.
I was a little bit, but it was kind of wacky and awesome.
Let's see, 93. I was 15 or 16, and I think I was watching Power Rangers just because of the White Ranger. I could care less about anything that happened.
So
93, I was 11, and I was still.
I think I was watching it just for the quirkiness of it. It was like on when I got home. And it was just like, this is quirky and weird. I can't stop watching this. And there was like even a couple of us at school and shit that like watched it. So, yeah, as we were playing SimCity and like, make our city grow. But anyway.
Talk about a blast from the past.
Oh, man. Yeah. See? So those of you should listen to Superhero Time. It's out on Mondays. Tuesdays, actually. It records on Mondays, out on Tuesdays. So there you go. Starting XV. And lots of other people. So I think XV explained to me that show takes 2.5 hours to record, and they end up with about an hour and 15 minutes of content. So
it takes 2.5 hours for the mom jokes, is what it was.
Right, somewhere he edits it down. I want you to know, everybody.
Bring any decent content out of Santa.
This show is completely unedited. We record it start to finish. You get everything. So there you go. Just saying.
Yeah. There's a lot of things.
Yeah. So you get our unedited rants on Japanese to American television.
How else do we talk about farting pheromones?
Right. God. That is so awesome. I'm telling you, we need to send... Brian Michael Bendis is on my Google circles. I need to send him a clip of that. And,
God, no, because I'll be so...
It would be awesome. I'm telling you, that is going to...
That will likely make it into the next issue of Moon Knight if you do that.
Everyone tells me I need to get a Spider-Woman figure now just because of that. I'm like...
It's hilarious. It is hilarious.
That rant got me all warmed up. I'm going to take this jumper off.
Oh, man. He's hot. Take it off. Take it off. Yeah.
Wait, I gotta tweet that, man.
If you're not watching this, you're missing Feely taking a shirt off that is over his polo. So, there you go. Now we're hot. Okay.
Oh, yeah. You like that?
Anyway. Okay, so I guess we'll talk about comics, because that's the only other thing to talk about. Since we're not going to talk about Sentai, apparently.
No, God, no.
Jeez. No, if I can help it.
Apparently. So, Triplet, sir.
Yes.
What do you got for us?
Well, I read a comic book called Moon Knight. Woohoo! There it is. Look, hey, Bullseye's on the cover.
Oh, good.
You read it? Oh.
Wow.
I wanted to pick this up, but I had to be frugal.
Frugal.
I'm still collecting this. I got like the first, what is this, issue 3? I got like the first 2 issues. And I wasn't sure if I was going to keep getting it, but I thought, well, okay, I'll give it to like issue 5 at least. And I think it's getting a little bit better.
I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah,
I'm grabbing a lot of random new things at the minute. So it's like I'm going to grab the new Daredevil as well, but all these things are walking a line, you know, because I've never bought Daredevil before, and the last time I bought Night, I had to dump it, you know. So all these things.
Then I fall into that same category because I've never bought Moon Knight before.
Well, you know what you think.
But
either one of us is buying Punisher.
I had Punisher for a while when Ennis was doing it until it got kind of ridiculous, and then I stopped. But I don't know. I might get Punisher since Greg Rucka is doing it. I'm strongly considering it, but I'm definitely getting Daredevil because I would love to keep getting Daredevil. I just got tired of where they took that story after Bendis was doing it. It was not good. But on to Moon Knight. I don't think we've talked about like previous issues. Did we talk about the first or second issue?
Yeah.
I think it was the first one.
Yeah, the first one at least. But I think we skipped the second.
But basically, Moon Knight's now based out of L.A., I think is where he's at.
Yep.
And what we found out in the previous issues is that he's still crazy as shit. I mean, to the point that he is an Avenger. We know he's an Avenger because he's in Secret Avengers. But to the point that when he's alone, he's still with the Avengers because they're still around. As in, like, they're like figments of his imagination, and he talks to them, and they help him.
That is so awesome.
And specifically, it's Captain America, it's Wolverine, and it's Spider-Man so far. I don't think any others have shown up yet. And I wouldn't limit it to those 3 because I would say at some point, I don't know.
Well, I think it probably is just going to be those 3 because each one of them seems to represent a different mentality. You know, Spider-Man is the goofy one, Wolverine is the one who just wants to launch in and kill everybody, and Captain America is the rational one who thinks the process is through. So I don't know if there's room to keep squeezing more and more in.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they'd fit him. But yeah, I mean, the 3 is fine as it is. In this issue, they don't really get too much into his crazy personality. But it does, it's kind of funny, though, that like everybody he encounters in this issue, they know he's crazy. And they say that he's crazy. Like, at the end of the last issue, he basically, is her name Echo from the Daredevil? Yeah. Echo was, she's this character that's been, you know, I think she was introduced in the Bendis Daredevil run, and the whole point of her character is she's like, Daredevil is blind, she's deaf. Pretty much.
It's like a thing. It's
yeah. But you know, she's still, you know, she's like a hero. I mean, she was an Avenger. She was Ronin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that who she was? Yeah, I think.
Yeah. She was Ronin.
And so basically, she was undercover doing something. I don't know if she's still an Avenger. Maybe she's working for Steve Rogers or something. But basically, Moon Knight really, you know, screwed up her undercover job because she had to save his butt because he was crazy and thought he was Spider-Man and beating up some bad guys. I mean, literally dressed up as Spider-Man, and it was just crazy as hell. But so at the beginning of this issue, he's like, the whole point of it is he thinks there's like a kingpin for like the West Coast or something. And he's trying to locate this person. He's trying to, you know, burn him down because, you know, he's sort of a hero. He's a goofy hero, but, you know, that's his job. And he's trying to get some information, trying to, you know, work with Echo to get some information, trying to talk her into, you know, helping him out. And of course, you know, she's like, you know, you're crazy. You know, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Basically, the issue is just kind of talking about what his day job is. And I think if I understand it correctly, his day job is he's trying to make a TV show or a movie based off of his life. Like, and he's like writing a script and he's getting, you know, casting actors and everything. And it's apparently the worst show ever because everybody's like, you know, I think your show's hilarious. And he's like, it's not supposed to be a comedy or, you know, or,
I'm sorry. I thought you said this was Moon Knight, not like Deadpool or something.
Yeah, there is a very weird undercurrent, is there? It's like not once is he in the Moon Knight costume in this issue.
Not in this issue, no, not once. But basically, what's happening is in previous issues, I think it was Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, he fought Mr. Hyde, and then whoever this mystery kingpin is turned up to claim what it was Hyde was trying to sell him, which was an Ultron.
Which was an Ultron head. And,
yeah. Well, it was a whole Ultron specifically, and Moon Knight just got away with its head.
Oh, okay. And so he's got the head, and he's taking it back to this guy that's kind of his, I guess you could say he's his military consultant on the TV show.
He's his Frenchie.
He's his Frenchie.
Frenchie was Moon Knight's old military sidekick, Alfred/mechanic character. And this is the new Frenchie, basically.
And on the books, he's basically the military consultant to the TV show / movie. But what everybody doesn't know is he actually hired him to help him out with his Moon Knight stuff that he's doing. So he takes the Ultron head to him, and he's like, they have a kind of a funny little conversation. What is this? And he's, oh, you know what that is? And he says, oh, it's Ultron. And he says, Ultron, the killer robot Ultron. Where did you get this? And just kind of Bendis-y talk, basically.
Yeah.
Good.
We get,
but good Bendis talk that actually works in a solo character book where it's not like a team of half a dozen people talking over one another.
Yeah.
It's two guys having a snappy back and forth Bendis conversation.
I mean, that's kind of like why Bendis kind of worked better in Ultimate Spider-Man, because that's basically what it was for the most part, was two guys instead of like a whole Avengers team like it is in the regular Avengers and the new Avengers. But basically what happens is it jumps back 3 months ago, where he's it kind of details how he met his new Frenchie, which by the way, his name is Buck. That's his name.
What a name!
Yeah, I
Buck
think it's
Lime.
I think it's Buck Lime, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he interviews some people to be his military consultant on the show, and then he looks through the list and he hates everybody on the list except for this one guy. And it turns out the reason he likes this one guy is this guy used to work for S.H.I.E.L.D. And Moon Knight, I guess, knows it because Moon Knight, he's got connections, or his Avengers connections or something. Or maybe he was just so crazy that he just pretended to be Captain America and he got information. I don't know what was happening there. But so he hires him because of this, and then he tells him about the secret job where he's going to be helping him with Moon Knight. They have a little conversation. It's kind of funny because like he begrudgingly kind of agrees to take the job. This guy named Buck. He does end off saying like, hey, do you know Hellcat? And he says a little. He says, if I do good, could you introduce me? And he says, one step at a time. Which I thought that was kind of funny. But you're probably wondering, Bullseye's on the cover of the issue, and Bullseye's not shown up yet. So where Bullseye actually comes in is later on, after Buck has been hired on as his consultant. Bullseye shows up, knocks him out, and kidnaps him. And then you got this scene where basically Bullseye is torturing him for information. He's trying to find out who Mark Spector is. Mark Spector is, Moon Knight's real identity, who he really is. And so he's like threatening him, and he's gonna like kill him. And he says, "Hey, I'm gonna cut your ears off and wear them," and just all this crazy stuff. And then while all this is going on, Buck never talks to him. And then Buck basically says, "Wait a second, Mr. Spector, is that you?" And then he takes the mask off, and it's Moon Knight. He's pretending to be Bullseye. He says, "Sorry, kid, had to test you a little bit. We're playing a dangerous game. I had to know if you'd crack. I know you're mad. I'd be." And then when he unties him, Buck just begins beating the shit out of him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Moon Knight is a dick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like he beats the hell out of him. And he says, "What is wrong with you?" And I said I was sorry. He says, I could disarm you and end this in a second, right? I don't believe Moon Knight can disarm this guy in a second. I think
I do.
Because I mean, my history with Moon Knight is I don't know really that much about him other than like the costume, the design. Basically, he's Batman, but crazier.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's actually that good that he could disarm this guy. I'm getting from this that he's very much a joke, is what it seems like. But so Buck says, "You never touch me again." And then Moon Knight says, "Come on, compared to what they did when you joined S.H.I.E.L.D., this was nothing." She says, "I don't care." And so they have this conversation, and basically, he passes Moon Knight's test, and it jumps ahead back to the present. That's kind of like the big point in the comic that was like the most, I think, fun about the book was the whole thing where he's pretending to be Bullseye and he's torturing him. But so the issue ends, and they're at the end of the issue. They are talking about this kingpin in the West Coast and who it is, and come to the conclusion that, hey, if you're looking for this guy or this person, then they're probably looking for you just as hard. And then you turn the page, and I don't that this person here on the last page, she's not the kingpin. She just works for.
No, she was in the last issue too.
Yeah, and it looks like they've got some guys, some thugs or something. They're going to send in after Moon Knight.
Whoa.
And they're calling themselves, what was it? Night Shift?
Night Shift. That reminds me, I wanted to look up and see if this was the pre-existing version of the Night Shift.
So I don't know who Night Shift is. I mean, so are they supposed to be characters that existed before?
Let's see. Let's see. This is... Who the hell are the... Okay, that is the Tatterdemalion. Yeah, this is California's initiative team.
Oh.
Of course, they're not the initiative team anymore. It seems that they first appeared in... I was sure there was a team called the Night Shift who had appeared in the past. But now I'm not sure. Oh, no, hang on. This Wikipedia article is just sort of all over the place. The Night Shift team originally appeared in Captain America 330 in 1987. But frankly, I can't find a decent list. And, it's such a small article. You think there'd be a decent summary of who's who, but someone's got a spade. Oh, hang on, that's Digger with the spade. I know that's Digger. And that's the Tatterdemalion in front with the mask. And I don't know who the other people are.
So this was like one of those government groups that Norman, I guess, put into effect.
No, actually, I don't even know who it is now.
Oh,
I don't even know. Yeah, there was a team. No, actually, I think I just had that wrong. They were a California-based team gathered and controlled by the Shroud, who, assisted by Werewolf by Nipt, manipulated them into serving the cause of justice by misleading them.
Ooh.
The team then reappeared during the Dark Reign storyline, getting involved with Marvel Zombies #4.
Ooh. Well, now they're going to hunt down Moon Knight, because that's how the issue ends. Yeah.
Hooray!
Yay.
And it was all right. I mean, it's like I think I'm still buying this book just because like I said, he's crazy as hell, and it's just kind of funny to see where they're going to go with that. Him being crazy as hell. That's it.
Nice. I was just looking at box office stuff, and I'm fascinated at how fast Transformers has grown, and how
nice to see you're paying attention.
No, I was. I was doing both. I was multitasking.
Come on. The Bullseye stuff was entertaining.
Come on, we just spent 5 minutes trying to figure out who the people at the end of the comic were, and we are no closer to understanding who they are.
I have no clue when it comes to Moon Knight. Sorry.
So, anyway, wow, Green Lantern is really tanking.
Really?
10 million this past week. Yeah.
Serve it right. So, did you see it yet?
Oh God, no.
Not at this point.
No,
At this point, it's in a dollar theater. You should just go see it at the dollar theater.
I can't. I'll just wait. It's going to be on DVD like next week. So,
ready for like a director's cut edited.
I hope so.
Version.
that would be so much better. Yeah. But I did. Sort of, maybe not quite worth mentioning on the show. But Transformers is now officially #1 for the year. So yeah.
#1 for the year.
Well, that's not a surprise.
Yes.
Okay.
261 million domestic. That's domestic gross. So it just passed Hangover 2, which is at 250. So, yeah.
It's just really got Potter.
Wait. That was #1 for the year so far? Because Pirates just hit the over 1 billion mark.
That's probably
that's probably international,
worldwide.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So typically the way they compare those films is by domestic gross.
Well, if you add in
Dark
international,
of the Moon
Dark's doing pretty good in it.
Yeah, it's about $500 million. So
yeah, let's
in
see.
like 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, it's 558. So it is going to go.
Considering what came out this week, are you surprised? Come on.
Yeah.
Something come out this week?
They had Larry Crown come out, and The Zookeeper.
Oh God, I was gonna say the Zookeeper. That is such a bait and switch.
I don't know what the Zookeeper is.
It's
a horrible Kevin James movie where they have talking live animals who try to convince them and teach them the ways of love.
Dr. Doolittle.
The trailer for this movie is so disarming because at the first part of it, it just looks like a regular rom-com. And it's like, oh, this guy kind of likes this chick, but she doesn't know he exists, and blah, 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 and his friends or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, he starts talking to animals, and you're like, what? So
Schneider's in this somewhere, isn't he?
Probably. I don't know.
Sounds like it.
It wouldn't surprise
That was gonna
me.
be my first guess based on the title, but
So are you surprised that Transformers took #1 this weekend? I'm not.
No, I'm surprised.
It will come crashing down this weekend, though.
This weekend? Why? What's this?
This next weekend. This
Next
weekend,
Harry Potter.
weekend, it's going to be coming crashing down because of a little movie called Winnie
Harry
the Pooh.
Potter.
I'm just saying. Winnie the Pooh.
I don't know. I think those are going to be. I'm afraid that Potter's become pretty niche, so I don't know.
That's
We'll
the
see.
last movie, though.
last movie in the series, it's gonna be huge.
It's going
I
to
will
be huge.
say this right now on air: Harry Potter will be the #1 movie of the year.
All right, can we take a bet
It's
on
possible.
that? We should take a bet on that.
I will take a bet on that.
She's going to take a bet on that.
You sure you don't want
takes
to take Winnie the Pooh? Because I think Winnie the Pooh's a strong contender.
It could be. We should take a bet on that, Nicole. I'll think about that.
I mean, it's got Eeyore. Does Harry the Potter got Harry Potter?
because 2 years ago, that was the only movie that beat out Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Was Harry Potter.
That's true.
Really? Huh.
Wasn't this one, and wasn't the last one of the franchise either.
The only thing that I say that Transformers could still outpace is if they can keep the 3D going. That is really inflating the gross. And so it depends on how long they can keep a 3D audience going. I doubt that the Harry Potter 3D is going to be as popular as the Transformers 3D. So
Yeah, I
think that's going to affect a lot of the gross.
Right, right, comics.
Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. We can
Hey,
talk.
they make
Track there pretty
Transformers
bad.
comics.
I was
Transformers comics. This is like on subject.
This conversation tied in because I was interested in the Green Lantern numbers because I was looking at it for top comic, and I'm thinking
You
that
could have knocked you back.
Listening to Moon Knight.
Hey, you could have knocked
It
you
was
back
during
last
the
week when you were talking about the girly tennis comic, but we didn't.
you spent 5 minutes
That
trying to
was
figure out who
comic.
the people at the end of the issue were, and we weren't any closer now to figuring out who they were than the beginning. So I was waiting for you to figure out who they were. Who are they? You still don't know.
But
That's
you
it.
help, but the woman is named Dancing Macabre, and the guy with the Spider-Man eye is named Dagger.
Great. What team are they on? Who are the other people? Why are they important? We don't know. Okay.
His name is Digger.
That's why we
Digger.
gotta play the
The
next
middle
issue.
is
to find
Potter
out.
and Million. And I don't know who the two big guys are because they're just big guys. And one's an-
I hope they turn out to be other personalities in Moon Knight. That would be
Managed to get
awesome.
another rant out of McFeely. I'm feeling good today. All right. So Nicole, tell us what you got.
Jeez.
Okay, well, I got 2 quick reviews because everything else that I read, the more interesting stuff, you all took. So
Yoink.
I will talk about a new comic that came out this week, brand new. Don't know anything about it. It was on the shelf. I'm like, hey, the cover looks cool. Pick it up.
You bring that flavor. You bring that flavor to this show where we're just stuck.
You're
Oh, I like new stuff. I like new stuff. So,
braver than we are, is what it is.
Yeah.
This one is put out by Top Cow, so it's not like a big mainstream production, but it's called Mysterious Ways. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay, it's
Like
a
the
good.
U2 song?
I
Yes,
don't think so.
exactly like that.
Okay.
This is a good. If you're more into, I want to say fantasy horror kind of slash a little bit of mixture. It's a good setup to what might be coming out. At the beginning, you see this woman. She has some information, and she's being tortured for it, but she doesn't know, and so then she's brutally murdered, and it's fairly graphic. So there's a lot of details that have gone into these pictures. So And that's like the big surprise beginning. And then we go in and you see the main character that's going to be in this comic. His name's Sam, and he's holding a couple of pieces of this broken, I want to say it's a pendant, but it's just a couple metal shards that have a special like design to him. And he also is sitting on a bench because he's homeless right now. He got out of jail for good behavior, and he saved a parole officer's life. So they decided, hey, you know what? You've done some good. We'll give you some time to. We'll give you some early release. So he is on the park bench trying to sleep his way away, and it actually talks about the murder of this woman. And then you see the more of the antagonist of the book, who is this detective. His name is Agent Zazzle or Zassel.
Okay. Sounds like a
yeah, and he's trying to figure out, and he's blaming Sam about this murder because it happened around the same time that he got out of jail. Basically, Sam is going to his old parts of town, his old bar. He runs into his ex-girlfriend, and then all of a sudden he sees himself on the news at the bar being accused of the murder for this lady. And of course everyone's like, you need to go, we don't want you here, we don't want your kind here. And then basically there's a mysterious guy in a cloak with a sword, and he basically saves his life from being arrested again. And that's basically all you see besides him talking to his cat, wondering what the hell's going on. He meets up with his psychiatrist, and you just see at the end, after he's done with his psychiatrist, he has all these visions of what's going to happen in the end. And you just see some really crazy creatures. I don't know if you guys could see this. The detective. And so it's a really good setup for what might happen. Like I said, I have no idea what's going to be happening.
Did you say talking to his cat?
Yeah, he was talking
she
to
did.
his cat.
Okay.
His cat doesn't talk back.
Oh, well, that's good. Because I was worried.
Because this is obviously not Moon Knight. This is another.
He's drunk, and he's like, Mr. Whiskers, you're the only one that
That is Mr. Whiskers.
His girlfriend named it.
See,
Yes,
and this is why I stick to mainstream that's fascinating.
this is what's awesome. He's like, this is as stupid as that damn bitch and the stupid name that she gave you.
Okay, well then.
Awesome. Well, at least he's aware.
Yeah. He's like, he talks to his cat because he's the only thing that's there that'll listen to him. And so, and I guess I forgot to mention this. He wakes up and he's got some protrusions coming out of his skin. So that might be something to do with the cloak man. So this will be kind of interesting to see what goes on after his visions. So that's number one of Mysterious Ways. So.
Who's the creative team on that?
Let's check it out here. Created and written by Jason Rubin. Don't know him. Pencils by Tyler Kirkham. Inks by Sal Regula. Yeah. Colors by Arif Peritano, I think so. Letters by Troy Peteri and Jason Rubin. So it's mostly Jason Rubin's production.
I have to admit, Tyler Kirkham is the only name I know from that list.
Yeah. Is this an Image comic? Who put this out?
It is. Yep. It's an Image Top Cow.
Top Cow, yeah.
Production.
All right.
Yeah.
Same
They
people
stopped
that did.
listing Top Cow separately from
The
Image
thing
in
is-
previews a couple of months ago.
Through this, you're trying to figure out all his different tattoos that he got, because I'm thinking his tattoos might have something, because they put a lot of emphasis on his tattoos. Let me just show you. Here's kind of the brutalness of the gal that got murdered. I don't know if you can see her strung up and stuff. Yeah. But they're going to try to figure that out. I can't wait to see what she has to do with it. So, yeah. Like I said, it's the very first issue. It's got me intrigued, so I'll definitely be picking up the next one. So,
Nice.
and then my next one, of course, is one of my regulars, is G.I. Joe. Now, this is the actual G.I. Joe. It's not the Cobra Civil War, but it ties in. what ticks me off is you see the cover. I was so excited about this cover because I'm a fan of Agent Helix. She's not in it.
Oh no!
Agent Helix is basically IDW G.I. Joe's Drift, right?
Really?
Basically.
Nice.
She's the original character.
So she's awesome? Is that what she is?
She's awesome, and she does kick some major ass, and I really like her. But the thing
But
is,
is she a ninja?
Does she turn into a car?
Is she awesome because she's actually awesome and she's done awesome things, or is she awesome because they've told you that she's awesome?
no, she does some cool things.
Oh,
She
okay.
does. And that's what I
Because
like.
Drift is cool because they told us he's cool.
Yeah.
She's been around for a while. The thing is, it's just like, oh, this is gonna be Agent Helix's story. Not in it. It's mostly Scarlet's story. Why don't they put Scarlet on the front?
Because
Whatever.
Agent Helix is cool.
Yeah.
They're telling you she's cool.
Well, basically, this is a quick summary of this whole thing. The pit is going down. The reactor is down, and so they're having to. They're wondering, okay, the power's down. The reactor is going to cause a commotion. And so everyone's to evacuate except for a handful of Joes. Of course, you've got Scarlet, you got Brainstorm, and Mainframe. Those are the three that are staying behind to try to get things worked out. Very simple. They have to get the prisoners moved as well. Now, the prisoners, well, one of them is Zartan, Master of Disguise. And so him and... where did I get it? Oda are released by Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow kills a couple of the guards, and they're running about as well. Basically, that's the story. So you have the three Cobras against the three Joes. The reactor is going off. Boom! Everything. Like I said, this wasn't that very interesting of a book. It's kind of like the setup, one of the setup books. But in the end, because of the reaction, Brainstorm was trying to set off to cool down the nuclear reactor, and basically he's the one that goes kaput. They have to pretty much bury him with the pit. So the pit's gone. That's the main part of the story. The pit is gone. So the Joes have no headquarters. Like I said, it was more blank. There's just a lot of action comms. There's not a whole lot. I don't know if you can see that. Not a whole lot of dialogue. But in the end, you kind of see a little romance budding between Mainframe and Scarlet. That is basically it. Like I said, it's a really quick issue, just so that you know the pit is gone.
Sounds like it needed more Agent Helix.
Yeah. Looking really cool, holding a sword, and oh wait, no, that's.
So yeah,
Sorry.
Storm Shadow came and got his boys out. Brainstorm is gone, and the pit is gone. That's basically what I got out of this issue.
Wow.
Like I said, it wasn't my favorite. There's a couple of side stories, but they really didn't have to be in there. So we'll see next issue what happens when the Joes have to find new headquarters. So see, I told you it was going to be quick.
That's great. Awesome.
So that was it.
Okay. Let's see. So, quick review of Batman and Robin. It's ending. So, that's
But
happening.
it's coming back.
Is it? I didn't think it was on the list to come back. Was it?
That's one of them that's coming back.
Oh, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be Dick and Damien. So who the fuck cares?
It's going to be Bruce.
Yeah, it's going to be Bruce and Damien, and that's going to be shit, and that's going to be one of the canceled 26. So
No.
Anyway, I don't really want to review this actual issue other than to say it just sets up a few things universe-wise, like Jason Todd escaping. But there's a great moment in here where basically Jason's trying to just fuck with Dick and Damien and tell them, he's just kind of mouthing off. He's not actually talking to them. He's just sort of thinking out loud and talking about like how the Batmobile smells like pine and Bruce never would have, liked that and blah, 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 and just keeps going on. And basically Dick's like, look, shut up. Nobody cares. And he said, we're all trying to restrain ourselves. The least you can do. And Jason's like, what? And he's like, not act like a tool. Yeah. So that was fun. Other than that, Jason gets naked because the story says he has to.
What?
Yep. Which happened like in the first issue that he was in. So there's a lot of naked Jason Todd apparently in these last 3 issues. And he got dressed really.
Probably a
Back in the
metaphor for something.
1980s, then that would probably be like a bad thing for DC.
Right. Yeah. But he got dressed really quick after that. Yeah. And then he basically got away with bombs that he had set months ago. Because that makes sense.
Okay.
And they just hung out on train tracks until he needed them for the story. So,
So are you saying that you didn't like this issue, JD? I'm getting a mixed feeling here.
it's not that I didn't like it. Was like, this is the issue where Jason Todd escapes. Great. So, anyway, not bad. I'm going to miss it, though. I still like the Dick and Damian Batman and Robin, so.
I think Dick and Damien sounds like a pair of children's television presenters.
Yeah. I know. But they're fun. He's the smiling Batman, and now he's going to be like an angst, 20-something a guy again. So
When the Nightwing comic comes out, he might be like guest starring a lot. Who knows?
yeah. Right. Because he's not.
He'll
Because
be
he
like,
doesn't
I
have.
missed you.
Because he doesn't have like his own issue. Plus, he's in BNR and Nightwing's in another series. Anyway, there's a lot of Robins with comics, and
But they're not Robins anymore.
not a lot of Batgirls.
There isn't even a Robin comic anymore.
I thought they were. I thought they were doing just the Robin one, but no.
Weren't they
Not
doing
yet, they're
Red
not.
Robin?
Oh.
Is it Red Robin they're doing?
They might be going to. but
Yeah,
it's
they
not-
got.
it's
I
not
guess
in
it's
52.
Batman and Robin, Red Robin.
Damien's got Batman and Robin. Jason Todd's got Red Hood and the Outlaws. Dick's got Nightwing, and Tim's got Teen Titans.
Right.
Oh,
So,
okay.
There you go. On to more awesome and sad things. Secret Six. It's 35. It is both great and sad. And yeah. So here we are. This is going to be like an all-co thing because I know we've all read this. So
Oh yeah.
I can't really take complete ownership of this review. We'll all be talking about this, but kind of to open here. I mean, Bane is running through the snow barefoot, and you get a nice clear look of venom ports on his neck, which he hasn't had for a while at all.
No,
has he?
no.
Yeah, they're fresh.
so
They,
he's-
look recently put in or something.
Yeah, so it looks like he's thinking about juicing again. And Catman, inadvertently, I think, sneaks up on him. They have this really bizarre
They have a really weird
conversation.
relationship.
Yeah, I would say,
Yeah.
but it's really interesting conversation because I think the gist of this conversation is that Bane was really affected by 2 things that happened recently. One, their time in hell when he realized that no matter what he's done, his honor code is shit because he's still going to spend eternity in hell.
We all knew this was going to happen too.
Yeah, and
Knew when we read
But
that
this
story.
is what I
that-
was waiting for.
Yeah.
I didn't think it
Yeah.
was going to end in 2 issues.
But I think the really
Yeah.
the fuel that really lit the fire was what happened last issue when him and his date were attacked, and he showed restraint right up until the point they were going to attack her, and that's when he let loose. And he realized that afterwards. He kind of reflected on that moment and realized that he talks this big talk about having broke the bat, but in reality this beautiful line, and this is something that we have said actually I think for a while, which is that the reality is that Batman broke him because Batman was restored to being Batman and Bane became this sidelined character, and so Bane's response now again, while all this is going on and he's having this conversation with Catman is attempting to beat the shit out of Bane.
Yeah.
Unsuccessfully, mind you.
For no real apparent reason.
No,
I
no.
was so confused at that part. But I'm so confused, but it does come back at the end. So
Yeah, I mean they do. They do come in that. Now, intercut with this conversation is a couple of side moments.
Boudoir moments.
Boudoir moments, yes. Because
Because it's not a Gail Simone comic otherwise.
no, we have Deadshot and Jeanette in the kitchen, where apparently making a sandwich turned into making it on, getting it on,
making an open face.
making
Yeah.
making the beast with two backs, as it were. Of which King Shark coming in with his hands over his eyes because he wants to get blubber out of the fridge is just awesome. By the way,
Sorry to
I'm
interrupt.
going to miss King Shark. Oh my gosh, he is such a riot.
but they have a brief conversation, and then another conversation here between Scandal and Knockout, where Knockout is still a little scarred, I guess you would say, from her time in hell.
She's kind of what is it? Mind washed, brainwashed. That means
Maybe not brainwashed, just as much as completely traumatized.
yeah.
To the point at which, like,
She's
this.
totally on guard, like every moment. of
Yeah,
her
and
life
especially
now.
this great dialogue with something along the lines of,
I feel it only fair to tell you that I'm compelled to rip your arm off if you touch me again without express permission, and beat you with it until you cease to exist in any recognizable form. I think I might be a little bit off my temper.
and the
So-
great
so
panel
noted.
is the next one where the hand, like, she's about to touch her shoulder and she's like, never
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
So, so after breaking Catman's hand, they decide that,
Where does Catman get all these nifty monogram tracksuits from?
Yeah, I was
I don't
gonna
know.
say that. We need to mention Catman's workout uniform.
yeah,
'cause
he's
that's
totally
awesome.
wearing, he's totally wearing a Catman.
perfectly ordinary brown and yellow tracksuit,
Uh-huh.
but where did he get the little 3 monogrammed cat slashes stitched on?
I guess that's what he spends his
It's
money
not like
on.
they really have the money to spare for that.
You know what?
sort of-
I think he might have had a lot of time on his hands once they got out of hell. And he thought, I'll pick up sewing. You know?
Yeah, well, actually, wait a minute. He can sew, can't he? I think
Yeah.
that's a plot point.
Yeah,
Way
I
back
think
when.
yeah.
Catman actually can sew, can't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he probably killed something and he turned it into a.
So anyway, so basically Bane's plan is to get the Secret Six to help him break Batman. And they're going to do it by taking out everybody he loves first. And very similar to sort of, I mean, not exact, I mean, it's a variation on his original plan. I mean, his original plan was basically to run Batman through the gauntlet to where he was so exhausted he couldn't resist and then break him. And this is a very similar set of plans. Which I think the amazing thing here is, of course, he explains this whole plan to the 6 or 7 or whatever they are.
There's 7 of them.
There's 7
And
of them.
the 7 of the Secret 6.
Oh, there are
And-
8 of them now. There are 8 of them. 8 of them at the moment.
And they basically, I mean, they bring up, like, strategical questions, but it's not like they really bring up any moral questions. They're just like,
Yeah,
huh,
like whatever.
it's something to
They're
do.
that far gone at this point. That's
Yeah.
just how far gone these
They're
characters
just
are.
like, whatever we can do, sure. And, I mean, and really that gets brought up because at the end of, like, well, because they talk about they're going to have to recruit an 8th person, and they don't initially make it clear who it is. But they're talking about having to break into their compound. And at the bottom of this page is brilliant because Jeanette says, okay, I can't do this, Mufil. You have to do this dialogue. I just can't.
Oh, no,
don't-
it's
I don't give a
Jeanette
just-
and
yeah.
Deadshot.
Shot, yeah.
Mr. Lawton, have you given any thought as to why we are following a man we don't even like to injure and kill people we don't even know? Not really. Don't look at me. I just like to shoot things.
Which is brilliant. It's like, that's awesome. I think that pretty much sums it up for the whole 6. They're just like, nah, we're just
That's
gonna-
just like-
These 2 pages are just King Shark's crowning moment.
I think
Oh
it's
my
worth
God.
We get to-
though.
well, because it's great because they're like, well, we'll send in the shark.
Yeah.
And King Shark's like, what?
You guys talking about me? I'm in. What are we doing?
Yeah.
The thing is, what I don't get about that part is they're in the previous page. They're in, talking about the plan. I'm like, well, wouldn't they
Shark
tell
talks-
King Shark? Apparently, they didn't have to tell. They
He
just
doesn't
said,
pay
hey, go do
attention.
this right there.
Very small brain, very short attention span.
Oh boy, a special mission.
Basically, they knew what they were going to do with him, so they're like, you don't even have to show up for the meeting.
No.
We'll tell you when we get there.
And he's singing the I'm a Shark song
Yeah.
all the way.
Has he ever sung this before?
I don't
think
know,
so.
but it's awesome.
I'm trying to figure out if it's supposed to be the William Tell overture or not.
That would be brilliant.
I'm a shark, I'm a shark, I'm a shark, I'm a shark, I'm a fucking shark.
That is brilliant and probably true.
Oh,
Someone
God, get a
tweet Gail
soundboard of
Simone
that.
and ask her that right now. Anyway, so
I hear he's a shark.
I've heard rumors. So I will always hear.
I really love this character.
God.
Enough.
So they end up breaking into the compound.
Yeah, so, but then there's we had the reptile brain storyline, and suddenly he decided he was going to hang around at the end.
Mhm.
I love working with you smelly losers.
and he's proven to be mostly useful. So you know.
But he's got progressively more and more and more random as the thing has gone on. You know, those shows like Arthur Curry's fish sack and things like that. But here's this one where he's just like a landmine or something goes off underneath him, and he's buried, and then he just pops back up and goes, "Shark fin soup."
Yeah,
I'm a motherfucking shark.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I mean, it's like these characters are facets of Gail Simone's mind, and this is just the random, crazy part.
Oh God,
that's sort of awesome. But I think, but as soon as we get up into the compound, I think it becomes brutally clear which person that they're.
That's when I think, yes.
So, just make out scene between Jeanette and Deadshot, but okay. And
I love that line.
it was great. I mean, it's poetic. I'm not giving that. It was just like.
Dipped.
Yeah, that's great. That's good stuff. So, most of this is just hurting a lot of people. Knockout, as they start to beat the shit out of people, becomes progressively more lucid, which is terrifying.
She says, "Knockout K, you don't have to do this." No, but the very thought is making me happy.
And we find out that Penguin has a concrete boat, so that's cool.
Of course.
So, but they try to convince Penguin. Penguin has some great dialogue in this. I'm just
God. Man, would you remember when we reviewed the early issues of Birds of Prey and we basically said, "Can Gail Simone just please write the Penguin forever?"
Yes.
This is that times 10.
Awesome.
Completely different venue, so I think she can get away with a little bit different stuff. And man,
how dare you lingering layabouts attack Oswald's cobblepot in his own sanctuary? This preposterous proposition: murder, battery, general unrest, molestation, perjury.
what's the bottom of that page is the best one. Placental. What?
Hang you all for a haddock, you preening bits of placental effluvia.
Wow.
Oh God.
We will. I don't think we'll get dialogue like this in Firestorm. I'm just saying.
I doubt it. Maybe Penguin will show up in the Batgirl comic. We can always hope for that.
So Bane, being Bane, decides that, and of course Oswald is totally pissed, and he's not going to help them at all. So he decides to try to beat him into submission, which doesn't work. So then they decide a different tactic. They suggest a different tactic where they're going to feed the penguins.
That made me kind of cringe because I was like, oh no, I did not want to see that.
Of which
my shark friend here is ever so hungry. Penguin puffs, nummy num num. Bet I can eat just one.
Awesome.
I mean, I was kind of terrified at that part. I'm like, no, not the penguins.
Wow. So Oswald will help them anyway. And that'll be it. That'll be the last issue. But man,
yes, because they are here to draft the Penguin. By the way, that's what's going on.
The whole point of this is to get him to help them. They're not necessarily really good at that positive persuasion. they only know how to coerce.
The information he has on the Bat family.
Yeah,
I'm afraid not. You're part of the team now. You've been drafted. Welcome to the Secret Six.
The devil, you say?
Wow.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
So,
This is the Burgess Meredith Penguin, and no mistake.
God, yes. So yeah, that'll be Secret Six, and then the last issue is next month. So
Yeah.
very nice, a nice meta cover that's coming up, by the way.
Yeah, we even get the cover if you can see it. There it is.
So
And God,
I can't guess anything that this is going to go horribly wrong.
okay,
in a really
do we
awesome
wanna
way.
Guess how many of the Secret Six are going to survive?
Yeah.
I would say most of them.
I would say
probably.
most. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think they're all going on to other things for the most part. I mean,
Well, Deadshot and King Shark are.
we know Deadshot and King Shark are. Jeanette.
Yeah, she's really just Gail Simone's character.
Yeah, I don't see that character going anywhere. Bane. I don't see them. I
You
mean,
can't relegate Bane to just another Batman enemy again after everything he's been through in Secret Six. I
I
don't
hope
think.
not. So.
I'd like to see him like go on with like his crusade of trying to change him not making it to hell. But
Yeah.
I think he knows that he can't. That's the whole message of this. That he
I
knows
know, but I'd still like to see
So
him try.
So
Well, I
he's
think it's-
undergone complete regression to what he was whenever he first appeared. I mean, that's the moral here, is that, you know, Bane has learned that nothing he's ever done has mattered. So fuck it. Plan A back in motion. Break the bat.
Yep.
I'm going to be so sad when the next month's issue comes out.
Well, I hope
yeah.
Bane undergoes some kind of revelation. You know, I hope that. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hope Bane comes out of it all right.
Yeah. That would.
well, I figure that Bane's got to. He can't die or anything because he's going to be in the next Batman movie. I figure they're going to be playing that up pretty big.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can't really let anybody do anything to him.
Maybe like
I
next
suppose in a
year
way
sometime
that
they'll be doing something with him, something big or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he would probably have had to leave Secret Six anyway by that point. Then.
Do you
So-
think
Probably.
Ragdoll's going to get it?
Hmm?
What about Ragdoll? He hasn't got his own spin-off, has he?
Yeah, and
Ragdoll-
Catman's not getting anything either, is he?
No,
No.
but I imagine. I mean, like I said, I think that
I think Catman will be another stuff, though.
Gail has hinted that the Secret Six will come back, though. Not,
Yeah.
and I mean, she's been pretty clear that she wouldn't write it, but I think she's indicated that they may be interested in bringing it back at some point.
Well, we're
which then
getting
wouldn't-
Suicide Squad.
We are
though.
getting Suicide Squad.
I mean,
so-
Yeah.
if they bring it back without Gail Simone, that'll just be the most colossal editorial.
I know.
Yeah.
That'll just
Yeah,
be
just-
one of those things where they'll be like, right, this was popular before, let's bring it back, but do everything different. And it's like, no, guys, there was
Yeah.
a reason it was popular.
Wow,
Okay,
It was
so
it-
popular.
perfect.
Okay, here's an idea. We bring Secret Six back, but now it's a fight club with superheroes. It'll sell, guys. It'll be awesome.
It'll
I mean,
be-
who
Triplet,
remembers?
you shut your mouth, Triplet. You shut your mouth because you're going to curse this.
God,
Yeah.
God, I hated Thunderbolts when it came
They
back.
did. They
Listen to
did
you
that
say
to
that, I'll take
Thunderbolts.
that
If
back.
people
I hated
don't know.
Thunderbolts when it came back.
God.
That's what they did. They did that to Thunderbolts.
So, we're gonna miss it. Anyway,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah. Well, we've still got another issue yet.
know, we got
and,
one more.
It's hard to know exactly how it's all going to go. I mean, what is obvious is that we're getting a real and proper conclusion to this.
Now, is it going to be a bigger issue, or is it just going to be standard 26?
Probably just a standard issue.
Darn it.
Bane ongoing. That sounds fun.
Only if
This-
Gail Simone wrote it.
Yep. Canceled.
It says it's
26.
the grand finale of the series, and it's packed with huge guest stars. I don't know who's going to be in it.
Wow. I'll be really sad if Batman is in it because this is like this comic made it all the way through without having Batman in it, so that would be great.
Wasn't
Anyway.
Batman in it at some point?
I don't know. Gail said he wasn't, so
They
okay.
talk about him a lot.
yeah, they
Yeah.
talk about. Well, I mean, there a lot of them are.
Batman hangs over a lot of these characters.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bane, Catman.
Wait a minute,
Deadshot.
didn't Catman have like a fight with Batman at some point?
He was an early. He was originally
I
a
thought he
Batman
did.
villain. He was originally
Yeah.
a Batman villain.
But I mean, when he went to Gotham,
but then-
didn't they have a fight or
but-
something?
I think that was Dick, wasn't it?
I think it was
Yeah.
Dick. Yeah, I think it was Dick
Not
Grayson.
Bruce.
Not
It's not the
Bruce.
real.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's probably what you meant.
Yeah.
Because he like beat the hell out of him too. I think it was a good
Yeah, I was
fight.
pretty sure they'd met at some point. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's that issue where Bane and Catman were trying to argue about who wanted to be Batman least. That's great stuff. But that was
Awesome.
before you guys were listening to me and reading it.
yeah, that's before we knew
Yeah.
how awesome it was. So,
I I need to get those trades so bad now.
Yeah, I want to get it all. I want to go back and start from the beginning and
You
read
can now do, like, that's the horrible thing about something ending.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got The Cats in the Cradle and I reread that one.
Brilliant.
So good.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff.
Oh.
Probably the best of the whole thing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I want to get when the trade comes out when they're in hell. I really liked that part too.
What are they calling that?
the darkest.
I can't remember.
Yeah. So.
But then that'll probably just be all part of the last trade, including these last couple of issues as well.
Right. So, all right, McFeely, what do you got for us, sir?
Well, it don't get any brighter or happier, because the first thing I'm going to talk about this week is Red Skull Incarnate.
Ooh.
One. Yes, a little something new. 2 new books for you this week, same as last week. 2 new things, a little bit on the edge. Now, this is written by Greg Pak, by Mirko Kolak, and it's a sequel in spirit to an earlier work from Pak a couple of years ago, which is called Magneto Testament. And it was the story of Magneto as a boy in Nazi Germany, and it was a Holocaust story. It wasn't a story where Magneto got his powers at the end and killed all the Nazis or anything. It was an out-and-out Holocaust story that just happened to star Magneto as a child. Pak put a lot of research into it, and it was just a rather strong and it was an excellent read as well. Strongly encourage anybody to read it. It was just a strong and rather powerful Holocaust story. Now, this then is a spirit sequel because it's about the Red Skull's boyhood.
Ah.
Yes, and it's essentially the other side of the coin. When people write stories about the Holocaust or about Nazi Germany, certainly in comic books, the tendency becomes to simply caricaturize the Nazis or to not even try to explore how, a nation that was truly one of the greatest in the world at the time degenerated so far into unrepentant evil. Normally they were the boogeyman of the 20th century, and so many Marvel villains still crop. That it's a dangerous and difficult thing to write, particularly as a comic book, because of how Nazis tend to be caricaturized forever. Mm-hmm. But well, we start out in Munich, November 1923, the height of the Depression, whenever a bag of salt is costing you 16 billion Reichsmarks. Shortly after a couple of years after the end of World War I, Germany is in massive economic depression before the rise of the Nazis and the Weimar Republic. And as a group of people stand outside, packed in a queue outside of a grocery store, a little dog runs by. And it's pursued by the dog catcher. And the little dog runs into the Munich home for wayward boys, where a boy named Dieter hides it from the dog catcher, and his friend Johann Schmidt, that's the Red Skull kid, tells the dog catcher that it went back.
Oh my gosh, you just ruined it.
If you didn't know what comic you were reading. Of course, for daring to speak to the dog catcher, he gets backhanded by the I don't know if he has a name or not, but by the cruel orphan master of the home for wayward boys. But it is essentially the fact that what may be surprising out of the gate is that we are being, because the Red Skull has always been a cartoonish Nazi villain, perhaps at his height during the war itself, originally when he was just the face of Nazis in comics. But we're being presented here with a Johann Schmidt who is not devoid of compassion. The dog, they manage to sneak it into the building, but it whines through the night because it's hungry, and Johann gets up out of bed, and all the boys think he's going to tell, but he's actually snuck to the kitchen to get the dog some food. Stuff like that.
Oh, that's
and then,
cute.
Of course, okay, I'm going to have to warn you to tone that down right now, because you're not going to like where this comic goes.
Oh, no!
Oh.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. See death and gore going to anyone or any human, but if it happens to a dog, I'm in tears.
Well,
I know. I can tell where this is going.
keep listening.
You like the
So anyway, well, the dog gets fed the boys' food, so they're hungry that day. But then that night, whenever the nurse is tending to the injuries that have been subjected to them by the runner of the orphan house that day, lovely place, Johann manages to sneak out, runs off through the town, and comes upon a march of the Nazi party, who are marching to City Hall and then to Berlin. It's the rise of the National Socialist Party. And of course, shooting breaks out in the middle of the whole thing. The police have, my Nazi history is not up to full what have you. But anyway, a riot breaks out. There's shooting, and in the course of the thing, Johann manages to escape into the crowd, and comes across the dog catcher who saw what happened to him for speaking to him the previous day, and decides to save him. And when they're in the car on the way to safety, Johann asks him to show him how he kills them. Because that is what the dog catcher does in Germany.
Man.
It's not that there's no pound here. There's a wire mesh cage out behind his house, and he kills the dogs periodically. And we find out, that's obviously our first hint that there's something wrong here. And as the scene goes on, the dog catcher takes him home, and he says, "How old are you? 9. What were you in for?" "I killed my mother." "Pardon?" "And died in childbirth." His mother died in childbirth. So for as long as he's lived, he has carried this with him, this undue fascination with the idea of death because of how he came into the world. And the dog catcher takes him out and kills a dog in front of him. Gets a large wooden stick, beats the dog down, and slits the dog's throat right there on the panel. The dog dies. And he hands the stick and the knife to Johann, picks up a little tiny dog. In fact, I believe it's supposed to be the same small dog as earlier. And Johann can't do it. And of course, the dog catcher says, "Congratulations. You may have been raised by wolves, but you are still a human being."
Wow.
So there's
Not been able to read this. I would have been bawling my eyes out.
Wow.
Well, anyway, he puts the dog in the cage, and things are looking good. And then all the other larger dogs in the cage descend upon it and savage it. So Johann bursts into the cage and, basically the whole panel turns red, and he spends a full page beating every other dog in the cage to death with a stick.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he goes to the little dog, which is bleeding out in front of him, goes to try and comfort it, and it bites him on the hand and then dies. And off he walks into the distance, pile of dead dogs and a trail of blood that's forming the shape of a skull behind him.
Wow.
Yeah. So, in all seriousness, this is dark shit, to the point that if you're a dog lover, this is I would go so far as to call this disturbing. I mean, the echo is obviously...
I wouldn't even got past halfway through it. I'd be like, nope, putting this back down.
Well, I think the parallel here is, we're presented with a Red Skull with some compassionate tendencies who has been raised with this little air. I mean, there's obvious serial killer overtones, undue fascination with death, and begins by killing small animals. This is how these things go. And even whenever he kills all these things in an attempt to save something, all it does is bite him before it dies. I think the parallel is supposed to be, we have a figure who is not without compassion, who descends into evil. I think the idea is that Johann is supposed to act as an analogy for Germany itself.
Yeah, I can see that.
His fall from he's already in a difficult situation as the story begins, as is Germany itself. And while he's not bad right now, circumstances, I think it's an analogy for the essential descent of Germany into Nazism.
Yeah.
Mirrored through some, it's kind of stock serial killer elements, but presented in such a way as to be genuinely upsetting if you're a dog person, at least. And I mean, some interesting stuff here. I'm keeping on with this. I missed Magneto Testament the first time out, but I never heard anything but good things about it. And I decided to get in on the ground. I mean, obviously this is happening because we've got the Captain America film coming up. Yeah. There's also an afterword by Pack at the end of the story here, which just walks through his goals for the series, talks about Red Skull, and talks about how he wants to try and look at... We live in an age in which ignorant public figures trivialize the true horrors of the Third Reich by comparing their non-genocide perpetrating political opponents to Nazis. Meanwhile, true atrocities and genocides continue across the globe without much coverage, comment, or understanding. It's a danger. It's an attempt to understand the other side of the coin and to truly perhaps explore how a nation fell on such... I don't want to say evil because that's such a cartoonish way of saying it, but it became so, fell into such evil ways. And that is not easy material to cover in comic book land, where Nazis are typically cartoon villains and have been for 50, 60 years. But he was able to succeed in Magneto Testament in a way that you wouldn't normally expect from a mainstream superhero comic book. So... while the first issue may, make you think, well, really? You're going to do this? Really? You think you can do this? But if Magneto Testament is anything to go by, yes, he can. And this book is just the beginning of something that I think will be very interesting by the time it's all done. I would fully imagine that he won't become the Red Skull until the last page of the last issue, because it's when you pull that mask, you turn into the cartoon Nazi supervillain.
Yeah.
So it's... I think that's probably where we'll go. I mean, he may not even put the mask on. I know that the Red Skull became the Red Skull. He was working as a bellhop in a hotel where Hitler was staying. And when he was delivering some food to Hitler's room as he was talking to some of his subordinates, Hitler was berating them for having done bad jobs. And he said, even this worthless bellboy, and he dragged him in, I could turn him into something better than any of you. And that's the Red Skull's secret origin. So I think we'll be working up to that point as far as the story goes. But certainly it's got to be the first story to ever have presented an even portionately compassionate Red Skull.
Well, I think we're at the point in terms of history where we can start to look back on that time and be more objective. I mean, in terms of when you look at World War II, there were so many of the people in terms of, I mean, when you look at it from like creators, right, of comics, it's really only been within the last 10 to 15 years that like people that were alive and remember World War II like retired and have moved on. We're in a generation now where that is something that happened in the past. And we can, when that happens, we're able to look at it.
It is possible to objectively study the whys and wherefores. This afterward even contains a bibliography of suggested reading to understand the issues the comic raises. There's the potential for issues to be raised.
Yeah, I mean, because it's been so commonplace, and World War II was such an event that we just talk about that World War II. We don't talk about those years between World War I, the terrible things that were done to Germany economically between World War I and World War II that led to the rise of the Nazis. And that it's not that the initial concept of the country trying to pull itself out of a hole and better itself wasn't a bad idea. It's the direction that it went after that. But that gets lost when you look at things that happened afterwards, the Holocaust and all those things. Those don't justify what happened in terms of why they went that why they needed to have a resolution.
And this now, like 60 years on, nearly 70 years on, it becomes hard to really even conceive that such things happen.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important that you put like I said, when you're analyzing and look at it, but I think it's important to remember too that they were people and that there was a reason that they were downtrodden. I mean, we forget, and especially as Americans, because I mean, by and large, we're poorly educated, and especially about history. And I don't mean that as a diss. I mean, that's just the facts of life, folks. But, I mean, there were Germans in pre-World War II Germany literally wheeling wheelbarrows full of money to the centers to try to buy a loaf of bread. These people were poor, downtrodden. The effects of World War I horribly diminished them, and they were a beaten down people. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that is an analog for the German people pre-Nazi Germany, in the sort of hopeless, space.
But the question then is a comic book the place to explore those issues?
Why not? It always, yeah, exactly. And
I feel like I have intrigued you with this one.
I am very intrigued because
the thing is, like you asked that, it's just a place. If you want to bring out the emotions of what happened at that time, this is definitely the way to go. I mean, just hearing your reviews, just like I'm tearing up, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great way to actually show
That's
some stuff that really happened.
Dead
But-
dogs and the plight of the Jews.
Well,
But
no,
in an
that's just
objective
the
way.
start of it, though. Who knows what's going to be happening in the other issues? If you
That's
want to bring out just true emotions, you start with something even smaller, and then you graduate on it.
And I think the big difference here, like you talked about the comparisons between Magneto, but Magneto was a victim of those Nazi atrocities. So in that way, you can sort of.
That's the as it says in the afterword, the story when you talk the Holocaust, the side that is taken is the side of the victim,
Right.
which is because but because it was so, now that we're so, it's just such an inconceivable thing that this happened in the world in recent history. It's hard to even conceive that there was another side to that sort of a thing. It doesn't seem real at this point, this far on in the future, where most people have ever done is read about it or hear about it. It's hard to believe that. Certainly the idea of taking the side of the Nazis or even trying to understand them is not a typical. It could be argued to be a pretty controversial standpoint, but this is the direction this comic is trying to come from.
I think. And we'll leave this. We'll move on. But I think this is the perfect venue because comics in the 40s were made to be such a vehicle for the Allied forces. Comics were made to be fighting. I mean, if you look in DC, Marvel, whatever comics were at the time, they became a vehicle.
Cap hitting Hitler and
right. I mean, that became
and,
they became a vehicle for the anti-Nazis or for the World War II, positive push. And I think it's only fair now that when we have the ability to be a little bit objective, that we take that time to back up and say, hey, what they did was totally wrong. And yes, these worst things are happening now and we're doing nothing about it. But this is what leads to that. This is why we need to know those kinds of things. I mean, we learned in terms of the way we treated Germany after World War II. But anyway,
I suppose in many ways that is it is the complete anathema, the absolute counterpoint to where Marvel superhero comics started, isn't it? In that sense.
Yeah, and I think it's justified and good. So I'm interested. I may
So
actually.
you guys ought
pick
to
that
read
up.
this. Yeah.
how many issues, McFeely? Is it going to be 4?
This is a 5-issue miniseries.
5 issues.
Nice.
Wow. It just came out this week. Oh, I need to
And
get
that's
that.
that's $3 as well.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
So
not bad.
I'm sold. I'll go back and pick that
Yeah.
up next week. Awesome.
Okay.
I don't know if I can read it. I don't know
No,
if I can
I
do
didn't
it.
think I didn't think that you would enjoy that review, but
No,
you'll notice
very
that through
intriguing.
at no
It sounds-
point did I hold up any art.
Thank you.
No,
Thank goodness.
It's very intriguing, but I don't think I can handle it.
That's fair enough. Well, the other comic I'm going to talk about, even though we went on a bit with that one, but justifiably so, go a little shorter with this one, is another new 6-issue miniseries. This one is by Joe Casey and Nick Dragata. Nick Dragata, you may remember, drew the funeral issue of Fantastic Four recently. This is called Vengeance, and this is also a study of evil. But this is in the more comic book sense. It's a little difficult to describe this because it's a bit all over the place. But essentially, we've several stories running parallel. But the main thing is that a team, including Beak and Angel from Grant Morrison's New X-Men, who are without their powers now after M-Day, and who were flitting around in that terrible New Warriors series. From a couple of years.
Do you have a picture of Beak without his powers? Because I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, let me get his face here. It's just a little. They're definitely the secondary.
I mean, he looks normal. He doesn't look like a bird.
Yeah, he looks pretty normal. He's not a handsome guy, but he's just perfectly average.
Huh. He's got a big
That's the
nose.
thing. Yeah, well. So they're working with a group of some kind. And they are in radio contract with the new Miss America. You might have seen this character announced a little while ago. they were talking about vengeance. They were building out. I think the build up for this. They were going to do like a series of articles on Marvel.com, I think it was, but they sort of stopped. They were going to do 6, but then they didn't. But one of the characters that we did get introduced to was the new Miss America. There she is. She is Latina. Her name is actually America Chavez. And I'm pretty sure they've digitally erased her thong because everybody made outcries about it.
Say what again?
She had a thong in the concept artwork, and I'm pretty sure it's been digitally erased from the book.
Like an over-the-hip sort of thong thing? Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, casual observation. Moving along.
Casual?
Yeah. She is being directed to break into this abandoned subterranean vault and rescues from it what appears to be some kind of teenage version of the In-Betweener. There he is.
Ooh.
The In-Betweener being one of Marvel's cosmic pantheon who symbolizes the concept of balance in all things. Now, while that's happening, she is in instant message contact, because that's the new hot narrative concept, with another character whose Twitter handle, if it's Twitter, is only alt. That's all we see. And he is out raving it up with Stacey X, of all characters.
Hey!
Who is a mutant prostitute from, was it Joe Casey's run on Uncanny X-Men, now that I think about it? I think Joe Casey created this character.
Maybe.
Possibly. Maybe it was Joe Kelly. No, I think it was Joe Casey. Anyway.
Pray to God it wasn't during Chuck Austin run.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it was. Well, either way, this definitely cements the idea that he is just outright ignoring the events of the New Warrior series, in which Beak used technology to become a new superhero called Blackwing, and Stacey X was supposed to have lost her powers in M-Day, but they mentioned she has them here. And she has her scaly skin and everything. But Alt, who basically, with the help of Stacey, coerces a young starlet back to his hotel room for a bit of frolicking. But, hey, look who comes and busts it up. Magneto doesn't cotton on to any of that old mutant having a way with it. Yes, he basically finds out what Stacey's doing, and he's like, you know what, there aren't enough mutants left that you can muck about like this, love. Turns out, though, that this guy, when he whips out a gun and shoots Magneto, and Magneto suddenly doesn't have his powers anymore, turns out this kid's name is the Ultimate Nullifier.
Awesome.
Ooh.
He has a gun that temporarily takes away powers. And then he kicks Magneto in the head really, really terribly hard.
Nice.
They have a bit of an argue about their personal philosophies. And and then he returns to base, where he launches into a bit of a young, angry man speech. What it turns out is that he and Miss America and Beak and Angel and all their support are the newest version of the Teen Brigade. Now, you may remember that the Teen Brigade was Rick Jones's group from back in the 60s, all the little ham radio enthusiasts who helped support superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
But they're like the little quiet superhero support team. Superheroes never know quite the extent of what they do and how they help them, but they are the newest. He says that there have been, what did he say there were? There have been about 9 or 10 Teen Brigades since the First World War, and they're just the latest incarnation. There'll be more after them, but while they're here now, they're going to do what they can. And they have this teen in-betweener. Now, that is just the primary plot. The series opens with a man in a bar 3 months ago. So this is set 3 months after Fear itself. Because there's a 3 months ago series that opens this, which is the Ground Zero Mosque riot from the first issue of Fear itself. And there's a man watching it who says, this is why he finally got up off the bench. That man does not appear again in the comic. There is a one-page flashback to 1944 in which Hitler and the Red Skull talk about some kind of Polish eugenics program that the Red Skull is ordered to destroy. The second to last page of the issue consists of a series of one long panel glimpses of a man who appears to be made of stone, talking about how his idol screams from across dimensions. There's a look at the Defender. Oh, I missed another subplot that was dropped in there where a security consultant talks to Kyle Richmond, Nightwing, but he's not Nightwing. That's another instance that Casey is just plowing ahead because Nightwing's identity was taken up by somebody else, Joaquin Pennyworth. This ties back into his last Defenders miniseries from a couple of years ago. This is picking up on a plot thread set up in that, which was that there would be a new version of the Defenders. We get a very brief glimpse of the new Defenders. She-Hulk, Pennyworth as Nightwing, Krang the Warlord, and I forget who that is in the demon-looking outfit in the back there. Just the briefest of glimpses. And
Are we getting a Defenders comic? That's all I want to know.
Probably not. Yes.
Damn!
We get a look at Kristoff on the throne of Latveria following recent events in FF. And we get the Young Masters of Evil from the Dark Reign Young Masters Young Avengers miniseries recruiting new members. And then at the end of this, the teen in-betweener freaks out in Miss America's arms, and these weird demons descend from the sky. So it's a rather confusing jumble of things in a first issue. The central theme, I think, to take away from this is Casey's last major thing was a 3-issue miniseries during Dark Reign called Zodiac, which was about a guy who decided, I will be a villain. Another angry young man who wanted to be a villain, but who decided that he wasn't playing by all the old white guys' rules. It's kind of like a young voice of the young people dismissal of the way things are done. It's like basically, what if young people decided, hey, I don't like the way the grown-ups do things, and the way the world works, but with superheroes. And unfortunately, Zodiac was a bad guy. And this seems to be the other side. Again, talking about other sides of the coin today, but this seems to be the other sides of the coin. This is young guys out to do good, but with absolutely zero regard for the way the grown-ups do it. Consequently, the kicking of Magneto in the head. With a lot of stuff sprinkled in otherwise that is gonna take a while to come together yet. I like the inclusion of Kristoff. I look forward to seeing more of the Young Masters, and I don't know who this Stone guy is. We'll have to wait and see. But they are definitely characters who will fit into a story that plays on that theme.
I hope the Stone guy's like a Team Grey Gargoyle or something. That'd be awesome.
I don't know. I was thinking it was the Living Monolith or the Sphinx or something, because he was made of stone, but I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
This is going to coalesce into something more later with stuff happening in 94 or 44 that's supposed to be reflecting on things today. But as head-scratching as it leaves you at the end, its mission statement is very clear by the end of the first issue. Its mentality, it's what it's setting, the spirit of youthful rebellion that it's setting out to establish is very self-evident. And I'm really just quite interested to see what the hell happens next, because it's weird, it's non-standard, and that's really the point. It's not weird for the sake of being weird. It's weird because I'm an old, stodgy comic book reader who doesn't cotton to these young people coming in and trying to do things differently to the way they've been doing it since World War II. So that's Vengeance.
Nice.
It's definitely something different.
Very
and
nice.
that's me for this week.
Excellent.
More unusual things. I don't know. I can't promise I'll follow these up with anything as interesting next week.
Yeah. Well, but still, I think we're going to end up reading the Red Skull thing, so that's...
Yeah, Red Skull sounds really cool.
So, awesome. All right, then. Well, we're here. We are on to Flashpoint. Flashpoint number 3.
Not Fear Itself, but...
Not Fear Itself.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I'll tell you why we're not talking about
you.
Fear Itself. Okay, listen to this. Okay. Fear Itself, issue 4. I got it. I bought it. It came in. I settled down. I read Flashpoint first. I settled down to read Fear Itself number 4. I got about 5 pages in. And I was then presented with the middle section of Red Skull Incarnate number 1 in a comic that had been misbound.
Oh,
No.
Yes.
Fail.
That's why I wanted to get that out of the way first. Every copy that came into the shop suffered from the same problem. I'll have replacements delivered tomorrow, but that's why I can't talk about Fear itself number 4 tonight.
Wow. That sucks.
Because I was reading this earlier today. I don't know if you guys saw me tweet it, but I got so fangirly because they drop a Jaws reference.
Oh, was it the bigger boat thing? Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching that this past week, actually. It was on TV.
Jaws is awesome. I'll watch it anytime it's on TV.
No, but it's just like, no, they did it. They did.
So,
What they should have did is the motorboat thing. You know, this wasn't a motorboat. You know, that's the reference that never gets used.
Know what you're talking about?
It's just one panel. Don't worry, we're not spoiling anything.
yeah. No. It's funny.
But I just got all fangirly when I saw that. I'm like, they just referenced Jaws. Yay.
All right, who would like to walk us through Flashpoint?
I'm tired now. Someone else go.
Okay. Triplet? No? Okay, I'll go. All right, so we open with a conversation between the president, who I assume that's supposed to be Obama.
I would guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
And Cyborg, where Obama's given him.
Because critical changes to the political, social, and environmental makeup of the Earth will always lead to the same president being elected.
Yes, at least in Marvel Comics. The extent of this conversation is thanks. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Because Cyborg has been unable to, get a superhero team together to to fix the political issues going on between Atlantis and Themyscira, which are, of course, have Paris and London taken over. But anyway, that's not important. What is important is that Barry Allen is the dumbest man alive.
Wait. We suspected the element woman on the bottom of the page there.
Yeah, she was there. I don't know why, and she doesn't come up again, so it doesn't matter.
Well, the implication is she's the one in the inside rooming it, and it seems very likely that this is the mystery woman's head who's on the cover of Justice League #1.
Oh, well, that's great for her.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, so this is not a character to be overlooked.
I was really, because that's the only appearance. But anyway, I thought it would be important more so later. But
extra reason not to overlook it. Anyway.
Okay, so those 3 panels are over. Thank you. So Barry Allen is the dumbest man alive as his charred carcass
Okay.
laying in pain on a table.
When I saw this image, and I'll show it right here, of Barry all wrapped up in bandages, I was thinking, so when did he become Hush? Is he the Hush of this universe now? Is that going to be his costume?
So now, if you remember last issue, because who could forget, he strapped himself to an electric chair, tied it to a lightning rod, doused himself in chemicals, and had himself hit by lightning and burst into flames.
Because that's what all the kids do when they're bored.
Right.
So
This should have come with a tag of "Don't try this at home," because man.
You should have either said, "Don't try this at home," or "Trust me, Batman, it will work."
So what's the first thing?
Hey, kids, do you like tremendous anticlimaxes?
Yes, exactly. So Barry's first thing that he wants to do now that he's all bandaged up is go try it again.
And Batman's response is, "You're out of your mind."
You're out of your mind. Let the morphine take effect. You're crazy. But he does it anyway. He goes back up to the roof. His memories are meshing. But yep. Now we get this is the crack-a-boom I was talking about. I want the big crack-a-boom and hit by lightning, because that's what happens. He goes back up and he's going to try to reset this thing. And Batman once again reiterates that he's crazy.
Hey, look, okay, let's get to the point. It works this time. What an anticlimax that was.
It really was. It was kind of pointless. It would have been...
Yeah.
He does it, he gets burned to a crisp, he does it again, and it works. What
I
the hell was the point?
Why does it work the second time?
The only point I can think
because
of...
the story requires him to have his powers, and they just did a little subversion for the end of it there.
The story requires him to have his powers, but not be at full power.
So is it supposed to be
you.
Like when the lightning bolt hit him the first time, lightning only strikes once. So now, in this universe, lightning has to strike twice before it works.
Right. But I think their idea was that he's got to have his powers, but if he didn't, then he could go back in time. If he had his full powers, he could just back in time. Whatever. It's a stupid convention. It's very anticlimactic. I agree.
It's massively anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I mean, the last issue was just flat out audaciously hilarious because it was like, yes, that's actually what would happen if you got struck by lightning.
Right.
And to just the attempted subversion like that is so I mean, this is a great panel whenever his powers kick in and little lightning bolts in his eyes. And it's very hard to convey whenever you're dealing with still images anyway, but like the raindrops all slow down around him as his powers kick in. And you can see solid raindrops around him. But I
don't have a problem with him getting his powers back, but I just wish that there would have been like some
reason.
It's like, the reason it didn't work was because of this,
Right, yeah, there's no explanation.
Not enough lightning.
It worked this time because Batman got involved. Yes, he goes crashing down.
Right, and Barry had to
The
run.
emotional.
So maybe that's what it was. He had to have kind of like a Batman energy with him.
Right.
Maybe he had to have somebody to save. Maybe there's like something where
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Or it was just crap. Let's see. Lois Lane joins the Resistance.
Better than Fair itself.
I haven't read it. I can't comment.
Lois Lane joins the Resistance, so that's really all that's interesting there.
I like how he says "told you" when Batman's looking at him all shocked.
Yeah.
He's like, "Told you."
See? I can do it. Barry makes a new suit inexplicably out of stuff in the cave because he doesn't want to wear the Reverse Flash costume.
Well,
because that's understandable.
Yeah.
You skipped over the stuff with Lois Lane.
No, I didn't. I said she joined the Resistance. That's all we really learned from that. She reiterated things that we...
But hey, the Grifter's there.
Well,
oh boy.
Yay.
Right.
Please buy his comic.
Please buy this comic.
Please buy this comic. We promise it'll sort of be important.
We promise it'll have Grifter in it.
Where's Voodoo at? Is Voodoo going to be important in the next issue? Because I think she needs to.
Probably, yeah, they want to sell that comic.
God. So Barry starts rapid healing, and he makes himself a new costume. And they decide to try to
They talk about the nature of time travel.
Yeah, nature of time travel.
I'm sorry, but I thought that looked good, that page.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice page. Yeah,
the art's really nice in this issue. If we want to take them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
no. Definitely not knocking the art for sure. I mean, it's good stuff. But and he does kind of try to give like an in-universe explanation for time travel and why it works and the reverse speed.
See, there's
force
this treadmill. You run on it.
Right.
Get back in time.
there's this thing, and it does.
I kind of like their explanation about how Superman was born in this universe. Or created, I guess. What you could
I like that
say.
the Bat computer is an old Dale.
Yeah. It's so slow.
Yeah. That was kind of funny. But they basically decide to try to Barry wants to try to get the JL8 together, and he quickly realizes that that's all for naught because, Abin Sur is still around, so that means that Hal Jordan isn't the Green Lantern.
He goes for Green Lantern first, and he says, "Oh, Hal didn't get the ring. This is weird."
And then he tries to go for Superman and realizes there's no Superman in this world, but there was a large meteor shower in Metropolis about the same time that Bruce would have been born, so that must be where Superman is. So they totally manipulate Cyborg to get the information they need because they know that they figure out that Superman must be being held. And since Cyborg has government ties and he's basically a supercomputer and a tank, Batman completely manipulates him. I love this Batman, by the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they talk him in. They talk him into like letting them know where this is, and because Batman has agreed to help with this whole resistance nonsense, which Batman's like, no, I'm not. I don't care. He's like, if we do this right, then the whole universe is going to change around us, and none of it's going to matter anyway, because I'm not going to help him at all.
Why can't this Batman still exist after
I know.
Flashpoint? Just let him like survive somehow. That would make my day.
I'm telling you, they need to have Thomas Wayne Batman and Bruce Wayne Batman team up. It would be awesome.
And they fight Owlman. And
Yes, it would be great. Well, that would be sort of a. Well, it depends on, I guess, on what you're reading, because they had rumored that Owlman was like an alternate universe brother of Bruce, but I don't know how correct that is. But anyway, so Cyborg helps them. They get tunnels and all kinds of information. Because Cyborg tries to ask Batman a few times, you're like, what changed your mind? Why are you doing this? Batman's like, does it matter?
It's like, I'm here, I'm Batman, that's what
Like, I'm here. Yeah, you wanted Batman, you got Batman. Don't ask questions.
Don't ask stupid questions.
Awesome. So they break into this project, Superman, as they call it. They know that there's a Subject 1, a Subject 2, and a Subject 3. We quickly figure out who Subject 2 is.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
If you hadn't
Talk
have
about-
enough of a dead dog quotient,
Yeah,
for this
really.
podcast,
Dude.
Yeah.
Was it last week I was talking about that issue of Superman where it starred Crypto? And,
Yep.
And this
Yeah.
week, oh, God,
This
Crypto's corpse.
Dead
Ah.
Crypto laying on, like, the table. Poor guy.
Batman says it looks like a canine skeleton.
So like this week,
It's like, my God.
so this week it's Fanboy versus Dead Dogs.
Yeah, it's all about dead dogs, apparently, this week. Damn. So we come upon a large vaulted area with a big Superman logo.
That's what I want in my house.
obviously stands for subject.
Right, subject, yes. They open the door, and of course, I'm sure that Barry is expecting to find, Superman. And the look of shock on his face alone is worth it. Because what they find is a shriveled husk of a man, who this project group apparently has kept underground and away from any sort of sunlight whatsoever.
I dub him Skinny Man.
Yes. Scrawny Man.
Scrawny Man, that's
They
even
should make
better.
him Superman now. Anyway, yeah, that's Superman. And they bust him out. And they fight past guards. And they try to explain to him that they're his friends. And he doesn't really say much other than, okay.
Well,
I guess
you
he's-
gotta think about it. If he's been locked away, he's hardly seen any. Well, they even say here that they don't even think he's actually even seen another human being.
Probably
I mean,
not, yeah.
It's gotta be kind of weird. Would he even know how to talk if he's never been subject to other humans?
Well, the assumption was that was still part of his. I don't know. I guess it depends on what continuity you follow, but that was still part of
Yeah.
his like Kryptonian pre-programming, right?
Oh, that's
Like
true.
when he was traveling in the ship or something. Like it's
Yeah.
a TV.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I would say he's probably seen people. It's a big transparent thing on his door,
Right.
I would say that people probably come in and tend to him. You can see that the cell's flooded with red sun radiation, so
Yeah.
that's why he has no powers.
But yeah, they bust him out. They get out the door. He gets his first look at sunlight, burns a dude, and flies the fuck away.
Dang.
Batman says, "There goes your big savior."
There goes your big savior. And yeah, they're facing a lot of guns, a lot of lasers, and yeah. And next we get Shazam.
Fucking right at Shazam. Looks like I don't have to read anything else to read about Captain Thunder after all.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this was an interesting issue. I mean, a lot of little pieces.
I like the Gollum look on him. on
Oh
him.
man,
Yeah.
he is so just sullen and just it's almost hard to look at him. I mean, they've
I
done
know.
it again. The art in this is great because it is. It's really just. It's almost
definitely, yeah.
sickening to look at him.
The
And
first time we've managed to have a DC event all drawn by one guy
crazy.
Oh
without
yeah.
any fill-ins for the last couple of years.
So it's interesting though. I mean, and in the back they've got these like for your eyes only deals
Yeah.
that tell you who the characters that you might not know who they are.
It's like a sketchbook.
This is a fine issue, but the fact that after the halfway point it just suddenly turns into getting the alternate JLA together seems a little weird, since this is supposed to be a Flash comic.
Yeah, and it does sort of like Like, I thought it would be harder to get Superman out, but apparently not,
No.
So-
Well, they've only got 2 issues left.
That is kind of crazy to think that
there is only 2 issues.
we're
left.
already
Oh my
halfway
God.
through Flashpoint. I mean, we are 2 months away now.
From
You
the
know.
real-
Yeah,
well,
for
1
the-
month
From
away.
really 1
technically,
month. Yeah, I
And
mean,
the
Wow.
Flashpoint issue 1's out in the first week of next month, and issue 5 is out in the last week of next month.
so I mean,
Isn't it the last? Aren't they doing the last Flashpoint the last day in August? Is that how it is? And then everything reboots on the 1st, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Well, the last week or thereabouts, yeah.
Well, the thing is with this, I find Superman kind of interesting. I'm sorry to say that.
It's probably one of the more interesting attempts at redoing the Superman idea.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's just like everyone and their dog knows pretty much Superman's story. Ever since you're little, you pretty much know the story of Superman. But to see it in this way, I'm intrigued now. So
Is it not, though, a little ridiculous then that we've had the first issue of the Project Superman miniseries, and we didn't see him in that, and this is still our first look at him in the comic that's supposed to be about the Flash?
Huh.
well, yeah, I don't know. I think that, who knows? There's editors that make more money than I do, making those choices. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're trying to keep most of the good stuff in the mainline story in the primary comic.
To be fair, all signs point to the idea that that first issue wasn't just a load of adverts for the spin-offs, because the things that have seemed like they might deal with it, like Wonder Woman and Aquaman, have not been stories set in the present. They have been about just showing how it all happened, so
No,
it does
there's
seem
a
like
que-
Flashpoint will be able to be safely read in isolation.
do you think we'll see either Aquaman or Wonder Woman in the next couple issues because they keep on talking about it?
I
I
figure
would
you
say
will.
some big brawl to stop the war will probably where the series ends, probably the final moments of it, final
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, I would think so. So anyway, so there you go. Flashpoint number 3, 2 left, halfway point.
It's okay.
Yeah. So
Better
awesome.
than Fear itself. I'll just keep saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was better than Fear itself. We'll talk about that probably
I-
briefly next week, but
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
No,
Fear itself, but
we'll
I just want to say that okay, they had like the last issue the way it ended, and then they had the ball and they could run with it, and they didn't run with it. They did not run with it.
yeah.
I was expecting something, it didn't happen, and I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I'll be reading it tomorrow.
All right.
So
Hopefully, they didn't
No,
make
well-
the same mistake twice.
Well, no, I reported it, and apparently they had a couple of people had
It's like,
reported it. So they have
This time
checked
you
all
get
the
Red
stuff
Skull number 2
in advance.
in advance. Yeah, sorry about the problem, so we put Red Skull number 2 in there this time.
okay. So couple of things to mention. Again, tfradio.net. That's the place to go for all of our stuff. That's got this show, Fanboy Versus. You got Superhero Time, which we talked about at the beginning of this show. Check that out. New Soundwave, which is new. If you didn't see it this week, holy crap. It's kind of awesome.
That intro is fantastic.
The intro is awesome. They've got some elements, etc., where we're testing some things and some new stuff. So hopefully we'll get some of the cool bits here as well.
I think you should change the name to New Soundwave.
New Soundwave. That could happen.
New Soundwave.
They could call it Billy. I'd be happy with that.
Let's see.
You could even sparkly get all your Twilight fans hitting your podcast up.
Oh man. So let's see. Another cool thing I want to talk about real quick. One is that if you've got portable devices, smartphones, those sorts of things, and you like to listen to the show in an easy and convenient way, you can now do that through Stitcher. If you're not familiar with Stitchers, they're kind of a new deal. They allow you to listen to podcasts, but as well as a lot of radio stations are streaming to them as well. So you can go to your smartphone device, download the app for Stitcher. You can do a search for Fanboy Versus, New Soundwave, Radio Free Cybertron. You can find all the shows there. So they're going to be available, regular podcast version. You can also go to Stitcher.com, get more information about Stitcher and all the cool stuff that they've got going on. So definitely check that out as well. Also, go to Comic News Eye. That's a lot of times where we get news and information for this show. Check out what comics are coming out. I occasionally do reviews there. By occasionally, I mean I did one. But there's that. But they've got a lot of cool stuff over there on ENI. T-Formers is a part of that site, so a lot of stuff to check out there. All of their news and information from all kinds of different geekdom. So check that out. That's it. That's pretty much it. That's the show. Anything else preview-wise next week? What do we got? Anything exciting that we should know, should grab? No?
Nothing too major. I'll have 15 Love #2 next week.
Oh, I can't
That
wait.
came out this week, didn't it? But
Yeah, it was, but I hadn't ordered it, so I had to back order it.
very good. Gotcha. So, excellent. All
I didn't know
right.
you were such a tennis fan.
He is. You should hear his shining review last
Should have
week.
read the comic.
Oh, I listened to you guys last
Yeah.
week. Don't worry, I still listen to you.
Shining review that he gave. So,
When you get the next Sonic, I want to know what's going on with that.
That was awesome review.
Another 3 weeks or so before that.
very good. So, awesome. Well, hey, once again, everybody, thanks for joining us again. Tune in live Sundays, 4:30 Eastern, 9:30 GMT. Figure out your other times from there. We are live at tfradio.net/live. Follow us on Twitter at FanboyVS or any of our Twitter feeds as well. We chat during the show. A lot of Twitter traffic this week as we got off on several different topics. That's good stuff. No. That's good stuff. It's a great way to interact. We're always looking at new things. Oh, new thing to mention. If you are on Google+, we are on there as well. So you can do the search for RFC, TF Radio Network. Join us on Google+, if you are so fortunate, which I am. So anyway, that's it. That's the show. Thanks so much for joining us, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.